I don't think you can dissociate the food itself from the entrepreneurship. My name is Juan Oyervides. I'm an assistant professor of Spanish. I also coordinate the Mexican-American Studies program in WT for the people that are presenting their experiences in these videos. What the food means, it's a lot more than the taste, right? The flavor. I mean, the flavor is, of course, a very important part of it. But I think that as they were telling their stories, as they were telling kind of like not only where they came from, but also where the food came from, it really presented an idea of community and family. But it is also, I think, it's kind of like one of the latest iterations, right, of Mexican and Mexican-American people in this area of Texas, innovating through cuisine and innovating through business establishment. And we know that to be true since the beginning of the 20th century. That is one thing that has always, I think, been present in the communities, the Hispanic communities that are establishing themselves in this area of Texas. Right, the first records that we have of Hispanic families living here, settling in what we understand to be contemporary Amarillo, came with the railroad. When the railroad developed, right, and came through the city, there were a lot of Mexican immigrant workers and migrant workers who were working in the railroad, right? This is the beginning of the 20th century, between 1900, 1920s, around that area, right? And they settled in what we consider today to be El Barrio. And so as that community grows, there is a need for, of course, community, but there is a need also for services catering to that specific community, right? And so Hispanos, they took it upon themselves to be those service providers, right, for their own community. And so food is perhaps one of the most salient, most visible examples of that. But we also know that later on, right, in the 1950s, 1960s, all the way to 1970s, segregation was still very prevalent. And so a lot of Hispanos in this area, and Texas in general, but Hispanos in this particular area, they recognize that that lack of services, that lack of support for the community. And so innovation for this particular community in this specific area of Texas, it's to a certain degree necessary. It's mandatory. It became mandatory for their own survival and for them to be able to thrive. These are entrepreneurs, right? These are people who are devoted and dedicated to their business. And it takes a lot of resiliency. It takes a lot of mental strength. It takes, I think, a lot of creativity, right? Ingenuity to do something like that. These are not just some dishes that they just come up with, but these are dishes that speak to their culture. They speak to the relationships that they are trying to maintain. But I think that it really speaks to how they see this continuation, right, of the culture into the future.